Hey, everybody, welcome to the Tech-Mex Podcast. We're your host, Eric Mando. This is episode 79, number 79. We're bringing you the top stories in Bitcoin, tech, and wealth so you can impress your friends with all the cool stuff we share with you. Dale.
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 All right, so, dude, I was this weekend in Austin, and I was feeling like I was living in the future. Let me tell you why. You think that maybe you got everything under control with Uber, and all of that? No. Actually, I tried to book a ride, just a few miles, close to 6th Street, and suddenly a Waymo pops up in the Uber app. Like, interesting. Of course, I wanted to try it. For the audience that they are not familiar with that company is owned by Google, which is Alphabet. They are doing a self-autonomous, I guess, robotaxis, for a lack of a better word. Thank you. And it was like the picture. It literally has a bunch of cameras and lidars on the top, and then also on the sides. And you see them around in Bay Area and in Austin. And then I book it, right? So, and I have some videos, some footage, so I'll show the probably our producer Katie when she's putting together the thing, we can show it. But dude, the experience is still a little awkward, because the first thing is like, okay, I was excited, and actually I didn't care that I had to wait 10 minutes for this thing, because it took longer than the traditional one. So like, I don't care. I wanted to try it. So then I waited like 10, 12 minutes. Okay, I was waiting for the Waymo. I see it, and it parks by itself, right? So then I go and walk, and there is no driver. It's driverless. So then, okay, I was about to push the button, and they have the mechanism similar to Tesla. That is, you don't have the door handle. It's like, how in the heck I need to open this thing, right? So it's like, I couldn't open it. So then I go back to the app, and you have to unlock it through the app, through Uber app. So then you click the button, but it wasn't very smooth. Like, I didn't know, but it's like, I'll figure it out, right? But then I clicked the unlock. Then I was able to unlock it, and it gives you a little bit of instructions, and it's freaky. I mean, I use the FSD for Tesla, right, for the Cybertruck, like every day. It took me to Austin, by the way, like several hours. Just it drove by itself. But yeah, what do you think? Have you experienced that? I literally driverless.
I have not seen a Waymo. I have not driven in a Waymo. But I think it's pretty cool. I mean, okay, so first of all, did you like it? Like, would you do it again?
Yes. I didn't feel like, maybe this is because I have been letting the machine drive me for so long that I have a high confidence on the algorithms.
Well, yeah, that's true. Because Waymo, they say they use like more of a mapped area, right? It's like a controlled area, so they know everything that is within that specific area. So it's not like it's guessing, not like FSD. FSD, they're just like, go roam, roam free, see what you run into, and then it has to guess to see if it can figure it out or not. But Waymo is a little bit more controlled environment, right?
Yeah, like, let me show you a little video, maybe for the audience. We'll do it again, right? So you can see here, like, it's actually stopping for the pedestrian, and then the car is just driving, right? We are going in freaking Austin. It's just the whole experience is weird. And then you have like a screen on the back. You can play music and all of that. So different experience. I will do it again. I feel that's what is going to happen with now Tesla robotaxis. We're going to start seeing them popping up. Like Elon, we know Elon is able to manufacture hard tech and push it through into the masses. So I feel that the robotization, I don't know even how to even mention it, right, or say that, is like when we're doing industrialization or the internet, right? I feel that there is going to be another wave when we will see all of these autonomous machines. Because guess what? The second thing that I saw in Austin, and I said, man, I'm living the freaking future here, right? So it was these little devices. Oops, this is not presenting, but we'll show it here. I think that now I can see it.
I can't. Scoot over a little bit more.
There.
There. Yeah. Ah, I see. It's a little cooler on wheels. Is that Wally?
Exactly. It brings you your food. So you'll see these little robots across the city too, delivering packages, food, whatever. So I feel that sometimes it's not the typical Optimus that we are expecting. You'll see all of these different robots, Robotaxi, this robot delivery, and then in some point when we have Optimus, that will be a different story. But yeah, quite interesting that in Texas we are moving super fast as well, right? Embracing all of this tech.
Yeah, I know that they HEB offers, I think, grocery deliveries in those little coolers like that. I've never tried it. I do have. I think I'm close enough to the HEB where they would deliver it using that thing. But I've never seen one on the road. I don't think, even here where they supposedly offer the service. I don't know.
I was curious.
Drivers too crazy out here.
Yeah,
They're gonna run over my bun and Coke.
I was curious that man, why the hobos? There's a lot of hobos in in Austin. They don't.
I know they just grab one, right?
I mean, they're heavy. They don't look like very easy, easy to just carry around, right? So it's like I feel that maybe that's the reason why, and probably they have cameras around. So, but yeah, that's an interesting way, right? I feel that that's the other problem. Sometimes you see equipment being littered in the city. We saw it with the scooters. Like scooters are there, all over the place. They just leave it in there on the street. So
right.
that's the only thing that I will worry, that if they start just creating millions of robots, and then you see the robot
traffic jam with the robots.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, that's actually, it made me think a lot of this robotics revolution.
Yeah, I think it's gonna. I mean, right now you were in Austin. You see it a lot in Austin. Those Waymo cars. I think they started off in Phoenix. I think now they're in Austin. They're probably going to start growing different cities. But again, I think if they're in more controlled environments or maybe well mapped out areas, I think it'll probably start growing there. And it's interesting that they did it through Uber too. I didn't realize that the Waymo and Uber had some kind of partnership like this. So that's pretty good. That's pretty interesting. And so you didn't have to do it through a Waymo app. It was just through the Uber app.
Just I literally was just expecting a typical Uber driver and the Waymo pop up. So yeah, I recommend it. I feel that they have lidars. To be honest, I prefer that technology.
Oh, right? The lidar.
Yeah, because you have the cameras, and on top of that, you have the lidars. Is, in my opinion, safer than Elon. I understand why Elon is trying to do it, because the lidar technology, in some point, he couldn't find it, right, to mass products with all of these vendors, and it's like, hey, screw it, just let's do it with cameras. Then his algorithms with his companies on Tesla, they push the boundaries of technology. But yeah, like for completely driverless, I would prefer lidars.
Yeah, that's true. Well, lidars were supposed to be pretty expensive too, right? So it would drive the costs up on Tesla vehicles, things like that. So I guess he thought in the end, computer vision would be enough, right? With enough cameras, depth of field, things like that, we'd be able to tell what's there and what's not there.
And I get it, dude. Like, we don't have lidars in our face. We only have two eyes that function as a camera, right?
But so we don't run as fast as cars. Well, at least I don't.
I have seen you. Okay.
That's true.
So talking about Elon, dude, every time it's funny. Like, it's like we are covering like Elon every week, right? What is he doing?
Gosh. Oh, Elon, I don't know what is going on. He just keeps getting into these crazy situations, but it seems like he's going to get get out of this situation. So everyone knows the havoc that Elon has been causing on the federal government agencies and things like that, firing people back and forth. But he says he's ready to step down. But it doesn't seem to be because of because he says he's going to save $1 trillion, but apparently the way he got hired onto this special role is as a special government employee. When you're hired on as a special government employee, you really only have that job for 130 days. So there is a limit to this craziness that's going on. And it seems to be at about 130 days, which should come around at the end of May, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, May 30th. Look, you can go either side, right? Like I do feel that the scrutiny that we need to see where expenses are going needed to happen, right? So I feel that for America is good transparency. It's like, who is going to be against more transparency, right? You're a fool.
Yeah.
It's like, no, less transparency. Come on.
Well, that's the way it's been for the last 100 years. So
yeah, but that's ultimately, you always wanted kind of like
Agreed.
It's like technology, right? Like faster, cheaper, right? More transparency, closer to the truth. And I get it, right? So maybe his methods are not for everyone, but he is pushing the boundaries, right? So, and the government was trying to get them to get basically this contract for a short-term employee, and they played the game and with the rules that they were already in place. When I was reading also an article and talking about that, it said that this rule was invented on the 1960s. So on being able to hire very quickly an employee for a short-term period and an executive, right? So, and then it's only 130 days. I feel that it works for everyone. I feel that Elon is very intense. And then he kind of already show a little bit some of that. Then politicians can take over and all of that. And also, I want freaking FSD to be self-autonomous. And if freaking Elon is like in DOGE, he's not going to get Tesla there.
He's going to be a little distracted. That's the thing. Yeah.
So I feel that maybe Tesla employees, they got a break for a contract.
Let's take a little vacation here. It's time.
And same for the ex people, right? So because his focus was a lot in Dodge in these 130 days. So thanks, Elon, for your service. But now I want my full autonomous FSD Tesla.
Yeah. Well, honestly, if they had maybe approached it this way, they were transparent, saying, look, Elon has to do this very quickly. He's been appointed to lead this thing. He only has 130 days. He's going to go through real quickly, do this. And it's just because he only has a limited amount of time. Maybe if that would have prepared the American people for what was about to happen, and it wouldn't have been so abrupt and it seemed like it was being done thoughtlessly and without regard to people's lives and livelihood and emotions and things like that. I think they probably could have done a better job of just preparing people for what was about to happen. But maybe they wanted this big, oh shit, what's going on? We're tearing shit up, and who cares what happens afterwards?
In my opinion, it's a stunt.
I think it was a bit of a stunt.
They wanted to make a case, right? And Elon likes those. When he was taking over Twitter, he bring a sink.
Yeah.
So he brought the sink into the
Let
Twitter
that sink in.
Let that sink in, right? So I feel that's part of how he rolls too, right? So to make it almost like a meme. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but in the office of the SpaceX, they have he's the meme lord, and they have a statue of his head, meme lord.
Well, lots of memes came out of this one. I will tell you that, but at least there is an end in sight for this. Again, May is the day where I think he's going to finish up. Of course, I don't know what's going to happen with everyone else that's on the team. But at least he'll begin to maybe divert his attention back to his other companies. I know there's been calls for him to be let go as CEO of Tesla, and I think he responded to some of that. But you've said it before. You thought like, hey, Tesla won't exist without Elon, right?
Mm-hmm. It's just that it's so these companies like Apple, and they were able to. I mean, we have seen this before, right? They kick him out. Sam Altman, the shortest one, we mentioned it last week, and I feel that is the same with Tesla. Even that he didn't truly invent it, like he has been.
Right.
He's one of the best entrepreneurs on all time, right? So he was able just to buy it and flip it and scale it, right? So which is not easy at all, and it's hard tech. So yeah, but I'm excited that he's gonna focus again into what he's good at, hard tech, instead of just being a politician. That he sucks to be a politician.
Maybe he's like, I had to try it, like he was so close there to it. So he's buddies with folks that are all over there. But
I mean, Katie has the idea that maybe he's gonna try to detach Texas from US. He's creating his colony and he's trying to
yeah. You never know. It's crazier things have happened already. So, so very, very, very interesting. But anyways, I don't think he's going to step down. I don't think they're going to force him to step down from Tesla. And I think he's just going to finish out his role here as the lead of DOGE for the next 130 days. And we'll see what happens afterwards. But hopefully the fat that they're trimming with the government, a lot of it was needed. They did it with a machete instead of a scalpel. Hopefully they can go back and sew things up as needed to keep the patient alive. So
it was tough though. The story will tell us, right? But the way how much debt we had, right, is like 38 trillions. Doing these things abruptly is needed. It's like, will they have better to have tact and telling us? Yeah, right. But I can see the other way around, right? Like if they give them the plan up front, maybe the opposition
will start hiding stuff.
Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough. But again, we are not politicians. We are techies. We're just covering from our perspective and our lenses for technology. So what do we got next?
Let's see. Well, along man, we're turning into like a politics show here. I think. Have you heard of this thing called Liberation Day?
What the heck? No, not really. What is that?
The tariffs, man. The tariffs.
Oh, man. So tell me how this impacts technology.
All right. So for those of y'all that have not heard of Liberation Day, this is what I think I don't know who came up with it. I think it may have been Trump that came up with this term Liberation Day, but it was the day where all the tariffs were announced. And by the way, this is kind of crazy. I think people were only expecting like one or two countries to get tariffed, and the ones that we were expecting, like Mexico and Canada, didn't even end up getting any tariffs. So I'm not sure how that worked, but everyone else had like a 10% tariff across the board. And some countries even have like 40, 50% tariffs. Is like, man, what'd they ever do to us? But anyways, I'm sure there's a rhyme and reason. The way this actually affects us techies is that, so we're seeing a lot of technology products shoot up in price right now. So remember the camera the new camera I bought and I was showing to you last weekend, Mando. So I bought that camera for $500. It's a DJI Osmo Pocket 3 for those interested or curious. $500 as a combo, so it came with a bunch of extra thing. This camera now, just like a week later, it's selling for $800 on just the camera by itself. So yeah, tariffs are starting to kind of work its way into pricing and things like that. And so, and it seems like instead of hoarding uh, toilet paper, maybe we need to start hoarding electronics because all that stuff is starting to go up in price. Uh, a lot of these tariffs that we ended up seeing, it's just very, very interesting. If there's a long list of you can look up all the countries that got tariff. Basically across the board, everyone did, except for a few that did not. I guess Scheinbaum ended up negotiating pretty well because Mexico, I think, ended up with 0% tariff along with Canada, right? So very, very interesting. But we're starting to see some of these prices go up. So I think everyone's going to be heading to Costco this weekend, stocking up. Even Mark Cuban said something to the effect like, "Hey, like if you know you need to buy something, buy it now before the prices start shooting up because who knows when they're going to come back down, if they even come back down."
Yeah. It might, maybe won't. In 2020, when I was building the house, I was projecting the price and the cost. We didn't know that in with COVID, the price of lumber would skyrocket three
Yes.
times. Like what the heck, right? It just went like bananas because they stopped the mills, they stopped the factories, and it's like that. I see the same, right? If you have to do a purchase for whatever thing that you need to do, it's better if you do it right now versus maybe in a few months because it will settle in some point whenever they finish these politics on the freaking tariffs, which is affecting the stock market too. It's like it affects everything, right? All of these decisions, it really does. But let me tell you, I really am. I'm also excited in a regard to try to make sure that we are bringing more jobs into America, because I do feel that America has funded other countries' growth, and obviously I'm from Mexico, so it has helped it, right? A lot of these countries, but I feel that before it used to be that right now the trade is not fair in my opinion, because America has been always great in innovating, and then they have to look for other countries to manufacture in a more effective, cost effective way. But now the problem is that they are cloning things. So they are sending these devices, this technology to other countries, and they only have a very short amount of time to be able uh, to produce it or get the profit. Then it gets cloned. So it's like there is no ROI anymore. So then, and I feel that that's what this new administration is trying to do, to try to bring more factories into America. So, which is always great, right? Maybe we will have good quality, good pricing, and more jobs over here. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it'll be pretty interesting, and I think that's why we saw some of the investment here in Houston that we've mentioned before, bringing some manufacturing back here, right? And then we heard about the Apple investment here in Houston. They're going to bring some manufacturing down here, and some other companies are also doing the same thing, moving over to Houston to set up more manufacturing in this area here. Again, we have the port, we have a lot of resources, educated workers, things like that. So a lot of reasons to come over here into Houston, but that's part of a larger push for move to bring back manufacturing back to the U.S. I think that's something that, strategically could be something very, very interesting that way. I mean, we saw when we worked back at HP, right? We started doing these co-development or joint ventures with some of offshore companies, Chinese companies, Taiwanese companies, things like that. And we knew, like, okay, we would send some technology over there. There was going to be a similar product to that, within a year. So we had to be pretty careful about what we sent over there, what was developed over there, and what was developed here in the U.S. So it's been going on for a long time. It's not like a new problem, but it'll be interesting to see, like, we're actually starting to try and do something about it in terms of either through tariffs and trade wars, I guess you could call it, but also trying to bring some of that manufacturing capability back to the U.S.
And I feel that this conversion between robotics that will allow us uh, to bring that manufacturing back. I still don't know that we truly are going to have more jobs because actually it's going to be more automated.
Yeah.
But maybe the type of jobs is to not literally to be the factory worker, but maybe is to actually give maintenance to the robots or manage the robots. So it's a more higher skill type of a job, right? So talking about Apple, by the way, you saw the factory of the iBong 3000. You got the picture, man?
Oh, it's so funny. Hey, you know, those people at Apple, I always wondered how they got their creative juices going. You know, they come up with these awesome, great products, huh?
Dude, do you notice that also unlocks your iBong with your face recognition? Oh, man. So tell the audience, what is this?
All right, so they really don't have an iBong coming out. Of course, what was this week? We had April Fools. It's pretty funny, actually, though. There's a lot of good stuff out there. So this is just one of them that caught Mondo's eye here. Supposedly, it does have face detection. So as you move your face up to it, it detects you. Make sure you're of the appropriate age.
So that way people cannot use it without your permission, right?
I think they're coming out with an iBong Mini as well.
And that's the one that you want, huh?
Yeah, it's got to be portable, you know?
It has to be portable, yes. You're going to the beach, right? With your iBong Mini.
It'll have some accessories that connect, I think, to the bottom, to the ports, the lightning bolt connector.
Yes, magnetic, right? Because you don't want to, like those things get like little lint. You know, it's with all of this AI, it used to be very hard to create these pictures. And now they're like freaking realistic. Like, holy cow. Like, if you saw the picture that Eric just presented it looked legit. It looked like a real product.
Yeah. It's so funny. So April Fools is going to get a little bit more difficult to detect what's real, what's fake, because these things are looking pretty. I mean, that iBong look legit, right? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Speaking of things that look a little bit like could be AI, did you see this, Mando?
Dude, yes, I did saw it on my feed, and I actually started reading a little bit more. So for the audience that they haven't seen this is a tiny robot. Tell me what you find out there, and I'll tell you my thinking. But yeah, tell me more.
All right, so basically, this is a flying robot. It's less than 1 centimeter in diameter. So if you looked at the picture, it's like at the tip of your finger or your fingertip. And it's able to fly. It's like a very, very small robotic thing. Now, when we say robotic, like usually you think of like little motors and things like that. This doesn't necessarily have that, but it uses magnets to be able to elevate and basically create a little small, you could call it like an engine basically that causes it to be able to fly. And this was developed out of Berkeley. So not an April Fool's. This one's a real one. It was released on March 28th. A little bit before April 1st. So very, very interesting here. I mean, things are getting smaller and smaller, and they're using different types of technologies to make these things fly. What do you think about it?
If you think humanity has advanced, it seems very slow, but for the time of the planet, it's like nothing. We're just a blink, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I feel that we have been able to harness different type of energy. Like back on those days, you have the steam engine, right? And then in some point, because before it was like horses and all of carriage and all of that, but then you start going into the machines, steam engine, then you start getting the oil, and then you get the gas, right? Cars, and so on. And I feel that now we are tapping into this technology for magnets. We know that it's there. And I think that actually maybe that's the technology that is going to allow us to understand UFOs.
Woo, UFOs. Yeah, I think you're right. I think, not that I'm a UFO engineer or anything like that, but I think it does make sense. I I think it does make sense. I think a lot of people have thought that the way these UFOs are able to move back and forth very quickly is because they're altering the gravitational field around the UFO. So essentially, it's like being pulled instead of like it being driven forward by creating some type of suction or vacuum ahead of it. Kind of how what's Elon's maglev or version, the Hyperloop, the same way would create a vacuum ahead of it and essentially clear the way for the Hyperloop to kind of move forward. In a similar way, a UFO could do the same thing with by clearing the gravitational field in front of it, and it gets sucked forward. How do you do that? A lot of power, a lot of electricity, but maybe also magnets or electromagnetism should be able to control those fields around the thing. So very, very interesting. Maybe this is trickle down technologies. Someone knows, someone has seen reverse engineered some of the UFOs that a lot of people have been seeing out there. And now we've got a 1 centimeter wide little engine that can spin using magnets and levitate and run around.
Yeah,
kind of interesting.
Very interesting with no engine, right? We have an engine with no engine.
Engine with no engine. And not April Fools.
Correct. All right. What else do we got, man?
Well, I thought we would close out. Just we share a little bit. We actually went to the museum last week, Mando and I.
That was pretty good, though. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we went to this Tamara de Lempica art show there here at Museum of Fine Arts here in Houston. Highly recommended.
Your Polish is not very accurate, but okay.
Yeah, it's like, everything I say sounds like Spanish. She is not Spanish. She is like, this is Russian or something, isn't it?
I thought that she was Polish.
Oh, Polish. Yeah. So, in any case, yeah, it's a very, very, very cool show. We actually got a private tour. Luke, shout out to Luke.
To Luke, yes.
He kind of did. It was, I would say, it's not like what you might expect from a private tour of a show like this at the museum. He kind of made it a little bit more engaging, and we played several games, which actually kind of made it fun. Not a scavenger hunt or anything like that, but it was really interpreting lots of paintings and seeing what things were actually came to mind with some of these more famous paintings. But we had a good time.
Yeah, I did have a blast. We took the family, right? I took the kids too. For me, the experience though, I felt more immersed on the art because at the end of the day, this guy was able to help us to see it in a different way, how the emotions that is evoking the art. And it sounds kind of obvious when we are saying to people, but when you are there, you're truly living the painting, right? And then you can start seeing it from the painter's perspective. Like, do you remember, I forgot the name of the one with the husband that is looking at you like I'm a little bit angry, a little bit frustrated, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the name of that painting?
I don't remember the name of it, but it was, you could tell him the story, at least the story that Luke told us about how it was actually one of the husbands, and the husband was ready to leave the artist. And this is how the artist, Tamara, portrayed the husband looking at her in kind of in an impatient manner. But it was because she said, give me more time. We can try and make this work maybe. But it was kind of past that, and he was ready to leave. So she kind of showed that in the painting.
So let me show you, because I feel that sometimes these type of things you don't truly see it. I mean, unless you are studying art or things like that, right? And sometimes pictures don't give justice to actually the magnificence or the mastery of the artist, right? So this picture looks like, yeah, whatever, arty-farty, whatever, right?
That was me on Tuesday, right? Like I kind of like had my suit on and
What are you talking about, dude? You always are in shorts.
I went into the office this week. I had
All
to
right.
be. I was wore a
So
suit.
you were fancy, huh?
I was fancy this week.
So just to tell everyone in the audience is like we were in front of this painting. This painting is not small. It's one of the big ones, and then it's looking at you, right? And then Luke was kind of helping us to without reading anything about the painting, or just to try to see what is the emotion that is evoking you and what is also the artist trying to project on the painting, right? Uh, and the interesting story here is that, yeah, as Eric said, this guy was a noble, like very aristocrat, right, on their country, and he lost it all, and basically that's the reason why they were trying to separate, and he was kind of angry at her because she cheated on him. But anyways, the other interesting thing is that it doesn't come very easily. But if you see the hand, she scraped it or she didn't finish, and it's very hard to notice on the picture. But when you're in front of the painting, yeah, you can see that it's kind of a scrape because she didn't want to put the the finger ring, right? So very very interesting to me that and the approach how the tour guide did it, I enjoy it. It's a different experience.
Yeah, definitely. I would have enjoyed maybe spending a little bit more time with the paintings, because I still like to learn about the history and read the things a lot. But there's a lot to be said about the whole experience, about really experiencing the painting, seeing what it evokes, trying to guess what is going through the mind of the artist, and then comparing with the notes that maybe are there. So very very fun. Interesting note though on the artist here, Tamara de Lempica. The very Spanish sound is not Spanish, right? They actually moved to Houston, and they lived here in Houston, and now the artist is passed already a long time, but their following generation, their kids and the grandkids still live here in Houston apparently. So very very cool. They were willing to lend a lot of these pieces, I think, for this show here at the museum. But you know, something else that I like about this story about Tamara is that she's basically like an entrepreneur,
Oh
right?
yeah,
If you
yeah,
think
yeah.
about it, right? For those of y'all that aren't familiar with her story, it's like she became an artist almost out of necessity, right? She got used to the plush life, and then through these divorces and and being with a new husband, maybe not as successful as the previous one, she says, "Well, I'm used to this life of luxury." It's very similar to the White Lotus quotes that are out there right now, right? And she's like, "Well, we need to make money, to be able to keep up with it." So she started just cranking out paintings. She was painting what I think Luke said 13 hours a day. So it was literally like a day job and a very long, these are Elon hours,
Yep.
that she was putting in. And she just cranked out so many different works and things like that. She did a lot of portraits. Which at the time, that's not what was in vogue, portraits and stuff like that. It was during the time of Cubism and things like that. But she did have some of those, some influence on her paintings with that, but she ended up doing more portraits, which, that's what she ended up becoming known for in
Yeah.
the end.
If you notice, there is they call it the Art Deco, and some attribute to actually that she maybe might be the one of the creators of that, right? So very interesting. I really like the colors, very very vibrant. But something that is it catch my eye on her paintings is just the kind of the affluent, right? The plush style. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a word there, but you can see very refined in a lot of the things because she knew that world. She was in the with the aristocrats and wealthy people at that time, right? So you can see it across all of the paintings. Yeah, we enjoy it.
Yeah. So we thought we'd share a little bit of that with y'all since we did go to that show. If you happen to be in Houston, that it's open through the end of May. It looks like they also have a film that's available. I think that you can watch there, available at the museum if you want to see or hear a little bit more about her life. So just our little plug here. Maybe if we go back again, we can share more with y'all. But I think we do have, since I did have my camera, we did take a few shots there. So I'll see if maybe I can upload some of them and we can attach some of the stuff here at the end.
She looks like Lady Gaga a little bit.
A little bit, right? In some of these paintings, you can see it. So very, very interesting. Well, That's all we've got for today. I want to remind y'all, if y'all like today's content, please like, subscribe, send us a note, send us a message. If there's something you want us to talk about, let us know. We're happy to do that too. Want to thank our sponsors too. They've been still sending us checks.
PayPal
and products. Okay, PayPal, whatever, Again, if you guys are interested in any Cybertruck accessories, check them out. It actually helps the channel, helps pay for the services and stuff like that we actually use to help bring this to you. So again, thanks everyone. We'll see y'all again next time. Dale.
Peace.